The outside of the skull was nothing in the inside. Yeah, right. You got a bruised elbow. Next.
10 o'clock, we'll call the Underwriting County Board of Supervisors for Monday, December 20th, 2021 in order. And have roll call, public notification.
Steve Johnson.
Here.
Carol Moen. Here. Eric Pandier.
Here.
Lou Yoki.
Here.
Russell Rinzig.
Here.
Todd Gerlin.
Here.
Jerry McRoberts.
Here.
Barb Thompson.
Present.
Bud Hanson.
Here.
Stacy Wenzel.
Here.
Dana Heller.
Here.
Bob Anderson.
Here.
Dan Buchanan.
Here.
Don Horstman. Bill Effert.
Here.
Bert Skinner.
Here.
Dale Heineke.
Here.
Bob Rogers.
Here.
Oscar Scope.
Here.
John Banks.
Here.
Terry Lee.
Here.
Carolyn Bartlett. Sam Paul let us know she wouldn't be able to be here. Bill Schradel.
Present.
Harry Taxdahl.
Here.
Jim Gores.
Present.
Gary Nelson.
Here.
Roberta Mosentein. Here. Pete Olson.
Here.
So right now we've got 26 present and 3 absent. IDN Cook County Clerk has complied with open meeting public notification laws. Meeting notices are posted on the electronic meeting notice board on the first and second floor of the government center and the main floor of the justice. Additional 5 county newspapers have been notified. And this meeting was posted, the agenda, amended agenda at 3:10 on 12/16/21.
Okay, item number 2, invocation of pledge of allegiance. Russ or Dana want to wing it, or you want me to?
I did it last time.
All right, sorry, Russ.
Oh, Heavenly Father, as we come before you today, let us consider all of your people and decide what would be best for those of Barron County overall. We look for your guidance, for your comfort, and for your overall wisdom. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Russ.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 3, special matters. Item number 4, the agenda, we've been notified that item number 16, that bid has been, is no longer available to us. And number 15, closed session, hasn't been, we don't have enough info to talk about it yet. So 15 and 16, the 2 closed sessions are not on the agenda. So can I get a motion to approve it like that? Motion by Supervisor Mosentein, seconded by Supervisor Banks. Is there any concerns? Not all those in favor of approving that agenda indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? That motion's carried. Approve the minutes of the November 9th, 2021 meeting. Motion by Supervisor Heller, second by Supervisor Stoll. Any problems with those minutes? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? That motion's carried. Number 6, public comment. We don't have it. Number 7, Barron County Highway Facilities Update by our own Mark Survey, Highway Commissioner.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I'll just kind of run through the progress that we've been making, starting on the west side, the wash bay. Work continues in there now. We have temporary heat in that building. The floors have been sealed and they're working on putting the epoxy paint on the walls now. It's very bright inside that building, just even with the plastic that's up over the windows right now, and they painted it that it really lightens that whole building up. Working on the mechanical, electrical, plumbing inside that building. We're all of the wash equipment for the automated wash is here. We're working on scheduling the vendor to come and install. That's going to be a few month process. On that building, we don't have you'll notice they've got the plastic panels and wood panels over the garage doors. We don't have any of the doors or windows for that building yet. The doors are supposed to be here anytime. That's one of the bigger things that CBS Squared is working on. The doors were supposed to be delivered in October. Parts of the doors are here and parts of them are out on the West Coast. So it's, the hardware. Doors themselves are made, but the hardware we're waiting on, that type of stuff. So once we get the doors in there, we hope to have the manual side of that operational sometime, hopefully the end of January, beginning part of February. In unheated 1, which is the storage building on the east side, there too, we've got temporary heat in that building. That building will not be heated when we're done, but we need to do temporary heat in order to do the mud and painting of the little bathroom and sprinkler room that's in that corner. Plus they had to seal the floor in that, so that's been done now. The temporary heat is probably going to get turned off this week, and the rest of the work that's in that building can be accomplished without heat. But we're pretty much, that building will be used, again, waiting for garage doors. That building will be used for material storage, more secure material storage over the winter here. On the main facility, we're continuing to pour the concrete footings. There's mostly surface strip footings now that are left. It's not anything pretty much below the ground. It's some strip footings down the centers of the buildings. Some of the columns, bases have to be poured yet. There's ample time to complete that before we start the erection. We're looking at setting panels starting on the 24th of October. So that's when you'll start to see.
January.
Excuse me, January.
October.
I'm on the original schedule. The 24th of January is when we're scheduled to start setting panels. So that's when you'll start to see the building come up out of the ground, the main building itself. All of the major components are here. When I say the major components, the structural steel for the main building, the roof joists are here. All of unheated number 2 is here, even though we've decided not to proceed with any of the foundation work because of the weather. We're going to hold that off till spring. But that whole building is here. All of the steel decking for the main facility, which goes on top of the roof joists, and then that forms the basis for the roof system. That's going to be, it's fabricated. It's going to be delivered in early January. It's been fabricated. We just chose to leave it at the fabrication plant rather than have it delivered because we're kind of running out of storage space for material. So we want to get that here early January. When they start erecting the panels on the 24th of January. Shortly thereafter, carry erections will come in, the steel people. They'll come in and start setting the columns and start setting the roof joists. And then the roofer will start behind getting the roof material on. The lean-to, which is the attachment on the salt shed, we've started the foundation work on that. And our goal is to get the west end of that lean-to done so that when we get the salt brine equipment delivered, that can go right into that area rather than have to be rehandled. The federated building, the footing work is all done, the base is poured. We've moved the building over. It's currently sitting up on blocking. There's a little bit of work which we knew had to be done to the columns. They should be working on that this week, and we hope to have that touched down. Hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have that building back down on the ground. And as I alluded to, the bigger, it's not big issues yet, but material deliveries of the other equipment is starting to not hold us up in any manner, but we're starting to see a little slippage in that. Things like windows and doors, resin tanks. We have the tanks for the wash bay, for example. They're hard to get. We've got tanks ordered for the brining equipment. That's behind order. Some water pumps, electrical panels, that kind of stuff. That's hard to get. We're starting to see where we're getting to the point where they could be putting an electrical panel in, for example, and the panel's not here yet. It's a week out or something like that. So major components are here that would get the building stood up, but the stuff to fill it in, we're starting to slide a little bit. But we're going to hit a period of time here where we're not going to have those contractors really having substantial crews on site, because until they pour the slabs and the floor slabs, then you can't start working on wiring and panels and things like that till that floor is poured, and that work will commence probably in April again. So with that, I don't have anything else to add. I'd just like to wish everybody Merry Christmas.
Anybody have any questions, John?
This brine, that's a salt derivative, right?
Mhm.
Is there research on the use of that on highways and drainage into the rivers and lakes? Is there some other alternative than brine? I guess this is.
I'm just, there's always alternatives, but there's costs with alternatives. And the alternatives that they have, like acetones and things, aren't necessarily friendly to the environment either. The goal of using salt brine is to reduce the salt usage. So in a very simplistic manner, you'll see we have the tanks on the back of our trucks. And what we're doing is we're wetting the salt that comes on the spinner so that when that salt hits, it's already activated. So it sticks more to the road. When dry salt will kind of bounce, you end up with a large percentage of your salt right out onto the shoulder because it just bounces. So you can automatically use a little bit less salt when you're pre-wetting because you don't have that bounce. The brine then activates the salt because salt needs to have the liquid to start working. So you activate that salt, that starts that chemical reaction. So you end up using less salt, okay? We also do what we will call pre-treating. Pre-wetting is when we're at the spinner. Pre-treating is like you'll see us go out with a water truck and we're spraying on the bridge decks, or we're spraying Stadola's curves on 53, for an example. That puts that material down when you know you have a storm coming, and it's a fine solution and it dries and that salt brine stays there. And then when it snows, it activates that salt brine and it prevents bonding between the pavement and the snow, so you can maybe peel it off. And then again, you use less salt.
Thank you.
State of Wisconsin used less salt last year than Jim Hughes, the maintenance engineer, will tell you, than any year in history, and I would argue it was an easy win. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Thank you.
And I've seen your trucks, a couple of times now. When you get to the bridges, you slow way down so you can spread that salt nice there. And a lot of the bridges in the county south of us don't do it that way. And they've had quite a few accidents. So thanks for doing what you're doing.
We got a good crew. We should be thankful of them.
The roads were totally cleared the day after that storm.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, item number 8, resolution authorizing Barron County to enter into the settlement agreements with McKesson Corp., Cardinal Health Inc., Amber AmerisourceBergen Corporation, Johnson & Johnson, Janssen Pharmaceuticals Inc., Ortho McNeil, Janssen Pharmaceuticals Inc., and Janssen Pharma whatever Inc. Agree to the terms of the MOU allocating settlement proceeds and authorize entry into the MOU with the Attorney General. We will take a roll call vote on this, and the resolution says 2/3 are needed, but really it's just a majority. But I'd like a roll call due to the seriousness and the amount of money we're talking about here. And in fact, we're gonna be authorizing our county administrator to basically execute all the necessary resolutions that are with this. So could I get a motion to approve it? Motion by Supervisor Strado, second by Supervisor Olson. Okay, is there any questions on this? I know there's a lot of documents, maybe they aren't here, but I think what Jeff provided told us what was going on. Supervisor Gores?
Do we have any idea what kind of money we're talking about
Yeah,
here?
there's a list in there, I think we get 1,000,003. It's on page 36, 37 of the packet. In Barron
I
County,
didn't
let's
get
see,
that far down.
to be exact, 1,344,657.56.
So then, does that money then go to the general fund or what?
Well, it goes into the Barron County Health and Human Services and a separate account Jody's gonna have set up. And it's gonna be spent for helping the people get over a drug addiction.
Just for information, I read an article, and all of these companies have relatives in every one of them, including our leader from Washington. It's interesting. They own all of these.
Well, there's more lawsuits coming. This is just the distribution stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Purdue family and a bunch of others. There'll be
A lot
more.
of nepotism in there.
Oh, nepotism, my gosh.
Bob?
Yeah. I can recall seeing something in here that in order to get the maximum funds, almost 100% of the entities involved in this thing would have to join on. I don't know exactly what that means, if that's on a nationwide scope or a Wisconsin scope.
I think it's nationwide. I think Jeff indicated 42 of the counties in the state would have to go on to it. And if you read, there's a paragraph in there, they gotta do stuff in 90 days. Anybody that, I can't believe that they're just gonna not take the settlement and then have to start out on their own. They put it kind of some teeth in there if you say no.
Yeah. And those settlement funds, do I remember seeing something in here that it's not a lump sum
Right.
payment, but it's amortized
Like
over
over 18 years, and we talked at exec, that 70,000 might be the number you get a year, and then Stacy and her department can, instead of getting it all at once, they can set up programs, and maybe depending on, 18 years, a lot of things change, they'll customize the programs to the money that we have.
5 years down, I local government.
So,
There's a couple of things here. The reason that they're doing this over time is the people that negotiated this on our behalf were very aware of the tobacco settlement in the early 2000s when the state turned around and applied 100% of that to the general tax levy. It was one benefit for 1 year. That's why they want to pay it out over 18 years. There is a provision in there that they do mention several companies that we can go to accept the present value net payment, which, we're not going to realize because they're going to come in and discount that 1.3 million. They're going to say, well, we'll give you 800,000 today. And that's really not what we want to do. And that's not the discussion that Stacy and I have had since the beginning is we want to take this and direct it to something for drug abatement and use that's productive over years. That's why the 18-year.
so structured settlement, we don't need the cash now, so we're not gonna call JG Wentworth.
Correct. That's exactly what we're not going to do.
Any further questions? If not, we'll go with the roll call vote.
All right, Carol Moen,
Yes.
Eric Panier,
Yes.
Louis Oki,
Yes.
Russ Rinzig,
Yes.
Todd Gerlin,
Yes.
Jerry McRoberts,
Yes.
Art Thompson.
Yes.
Von Hansen.
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel.
Yes.
Dana Heller.
Yes.
Bob Anderson.
Yes.
Dan Buchanan.
Yes.
Don Horstman is absent. Bill Efforts.
Yes.
Bert Skinner.
Yes.
Dale Heineke.
Yes.
Bob Rogers.
Yes.
Oscar Scope.
Yes.
John Banks.
Yes.
Terry Lee.
Yes.
Carolyn Bartlett.
Yes.
Pam Fowl is absent. Bill Stradle.
Yes.
Gary Taxdell.
Yes.
Jim Gores.
Yes.
Gary Nelson.
Yes.
Roberta Mosenty.
Yes.
Pete Olson.
Yes.
Steve Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, so the roll call is 27 yes and 2 absent.
Good, thanks, everybody. Okay, number 9, resolution authorizing American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds for the purchase of highway speed forward signs for County M. And Jeff had in the update for you, I know the highway department discussed this at length. It's a major campground that's in that area. They're trying to, it's a narrow, a lot of parking on the road. It's a really safety hazard if we just let them keep the same, well, I guess they're keeping the same speed limit, but if we don't do something to get the public to recognize that we're gonna have an accident, somebody's gonna pop an ATV or something. So these signs, there's 2 of them, they're up to $10,750. They're expensive, but there has been studies that they're proven that they do speed. I think only the kids look at it and say, I'm gonna get higher than what you're supposed to do. But anyway, so I personally, I think it's needed. I guess I'm gonna do a roll call on that one too. And this one, we do need 2/3. So I guess I'd ask for a motion to approve it. Motion by Supervisor Buchanan, seconded by Supervisor Anderson. Is there any further discussion on this? If not, I'll have a roll call vote.
Eric Panier.
Yes.
Louis Oki.
Yes.
Russ Rinzig.
Yes.
Todd Gerlin.
Yes.
Jerry McRoberts.
Yes.
Art Thompson.
Yes.
Von Hansen.
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel.
Yes.
Dana Heller.
Yes.
Bob Anderson.
Yes.
Dan Buchanan.
Yes.
Don Horstman is absent. Bill Efforts.
Yes.
Bert Skinner.
Yes.
Dale Heineke.
Yes.
Bob Rogers.
Yes.
Oscar Scope.
Yes.
John Banks.
Yes.
Terry Lee.
Yes.
Carolyn Bartlett.
Yes.
Pam Fowl is absent. Bill Stradle.
Yes.
Gary Taxdell.
Yes.
Jim Gores.
Yeah.
Gary Nelson.
Yes.
Roberta Mosenty.
Yes.
Pete Olson.
Yes.
Steve Johnson.
Yes.
Carol Moen.
Yes.
Okay, we have 27 yes and 2 absent.
Thanks, everybody. So that motion, the resolution is passed. Item number 10, discuss the virtual attendance of county board members in committee meetings. It's a non-action item. What happened is that resolution that's in your packet on page 41, 42, we discussed that at length at the executive meeting. Initially, this was brought up, say, mid-2021, with concerns that we were having too many supervisors or some, not attending in person. And so I think we did a straw poll, and at that time, in the mid-year, we said, well, we'll push it to the end of the year and decide before people take papers out. Well, so that's what we were doing at exec, trying to decide whether to pass this or not. As I said at that meeting, and actually in the paper, I'm in favor of letting the voters decide whether the supervisor is here or not. And I don't, they're supposed to contact me, the supervisors are, to ask, hey, you care if I'm going virtually or Jeff or I? And but that was my own personal feeling. But as the executive committee got talking, I got a feeling my opinion was not the majority. So I didn't want to ramrod the darn thing through, try to. So Carolyn made a good suggestion. Hey, we're doing all this upgrades to the auditorium here. Well, you know, and Stan made a comment too. He said, you know, when right now, if you want to see the stuff on the screen, because you got people being remotely, you can't see it even if you're sitting here. So again, those are hopefully things that will be rectified by our new auditorium upgrades. So I think it was a smart move to say, hey, why don't we wait until April, May, we get all the new people here. We can kind of, and we got the equipment hopefully all set up here and working great. We can decide, make a better decision at that time with more useful information. So we just wanted to tell everybody what our thinking was and what happened. And if anybody wants the opportunity to speak now, they can, but I think we're gonna just talk about it and make a decision, you know, like I said, probably next May.
Louis, I have a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm sick today. I couldn't be at the meeting because I didn't want to bring you guys whatever I had.
Thank you.
To me, a Zoom person that's participating is just as important as somebody who's at the meeting and not paying attention.
If you're first coming on the board like I did, I don't want to be voting when I don't have to watch that. I want to meet these people. I want to know their attitudes, how they feel about things, and why are we doing it, or which committee's doing it, because I was on the city and we ran, the 6 of us did everything. Now I'm here on 2 committees, and I have to say okay to all of these people that are saying another thing I should do. I'd like to talk to them about that. Not on that. That's my opinion.
Well, that was said by more people like that than what I said earlier. Carolyn?
I'll just make a comment because I kind of initiated this at exec, but, you know, certainly I think, you know, our new equipment is going to be phenomenal when we get it, and it's going to be amazing. I still think we have a role as the county board supervisor to represent and interact with the people we represent, but as well as the other county board supervisors. And from my perspective, I feel like we need something in between. Bun being sick today, you know, but still able to be at the meeting. You know, I think, you know, there's an opportunity to have exceptions, but not have it be all the time. And depends upon, you know, what the purposes are. And I think I felt we needed to see how did the new equipment work, because it certainly is going to work better than what we have today. I truly believe that. And I still believe there needs to be some kind of virtual options for certain types of situations, but maybe not just an at will. So.
And you do have, you know, people are entitled to vacations and traveling south, and you know, if you miss 2 or 3 meetings, maybe that's acceptable. You know, again, that's my opinion. So, and another thing is, it's right now we've got a really good board. We got open seats that people are running for, and some of them have competition. Some of the counties aren't having that kind of situation. They're trying to get their super people to run. And some of them that thought they could save money by cutting the size of in half realized that, hey, there's the same amount of work. So if we cut the board in half, you're going to basically double your work that you want, and maybe you don't want to spend that much time on county stuff. So those are things that you keep in mind, but it isn't really germane. But, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I agree with that because I think this whole county tried that a few years ago, and there were so many people that were on 2 committees like most of us are. There were 4 or 5, and they said, you know, that's too much. And then I had a cousin years ago, and of course it worked out for him okay because he owned his own business, but there was only, I think, 3 or 4 county supervisors. They were meeting 4 out of the 5 days
You have to.
Yeah, and I think Chippewa went down to 15, and I think they're going back to 21 or 21, so they're doing, and another thing to think about, you know, it'd be nice to have a younger mix too, and maybe have virtual options a way that you can get them to do that too, rather than they don't take off work and have to come here, so, you know, there's a lot of factors in all this.
I think that, I'd like to sit there and maybe wait till, like I say, we get everything done and shook out and stuff like that. There also, it will maybe give some time for the new strains of the COVID thing to be a little bit subsiding and stuff like that. Maybe not, what do you call them? But anyhow, I guess when we're in such a turnabout here with the new facility and stuff like that there, I think that he should just kind of keep it right now until April or May.
Potentially, I think we could have 9 different board members too. Potentially.
Okay.
Gary?
Yeah, this is kind of related to getting to know the supervisors. I've asked Jeff and you that it'd be nice to have a biography of every supervisor, so I know what their backgrounds are, and all that, because anybody coming on this board doesn't know everybody, and it would be nice to know their backgrounds and who, you know, it gives you an idea how they're thinking.
I'm not sure, in today's world, I don't know if everybody wants to do that or not, but that's confidential, I know that's.
We can skip that kind of thing.
Well, it can be confidential for the, you know, keep it confidential between county board members and not share it with anybody. Unless if you're in the witness protection program, I guess then you got a problem.
Well, you got open meeting laws too, we'll just have to, I hear what you're saying, so we'll just have to think about it. Any further discussion? If not, we're just gonna let this thing ride until next May.
Yep.
Yep. All right. We'll do that then. Thank you. Number 11, report for our county administrator. Oh, okay. All right, Jody, you're up.
All right, just wanted to just give a brief overview of what we have expended so far with regard to the American Rescue Plan. So far, and this is as of today, we have we have about $37,000 that has went out the door. 23,000 of it has went to PPE, and that was purchased. Let's see, that was back.
Also page 46 of your packet.
Yes, this one is just a little bit more updated. The PPE was purchased back in October. Also, we have about 2,500 so far has been expended on IT equipment. That was budgeted at about 215,000. That was approved by resolution for those purchases. And so those bills are going to start coming now because I know we've been getting the equipment. Highway maps, I'm still waiting for an invoice from Economic Development. ATV snow maps, those were bought and paid for at about $8,100. And then we have attorney fees. So far, we've spent about $1,741. And we have had we've talked with Ellers and just, you know, had some consulting done at about $1,552. So just really getting started. The final guidance still is not out. We don't know when it's going to be coming. So we're just kind of waiting and guess we'll just kind of go from there. Hopefully within the next couple of months, we'll see some final guidance. So we'll actually know, you know, what the parameters are of what we can spend the money on.
And just remember, we've had several discussions. I don't think we had a formal resolution yet, but on the Marion County Housing Authority, we've kind of said we donate $3.5 million of this money for those renovations of 70 units. So that'll take a huge chunk of it.
Right. And I will be adding on the signs onto this for the next time you see the spreadsheet. So anyway, we're just kind of clipping along, but at a very slow pace.
Speaking of those apartments that we toured there, has there been bids left to go ahead and do that work?
We're 9 months away from
Yeah.
July.
Okay.
they're working on it all the time, and Tom Langgraf talks regularly with Gary and the group in the housing authorities.
Okay, as far as my update, item 11B on the direct bill health insurance, we're just keeping that in our back pocket because on our 2022 health insurance renewal, I updated you on exactly what we did. So going to the direct bill, we'll just hang on to that. Working with Alex, we did get a very good renewal on our stop loss, and we got our lasers eliminated, and we got protection for if there was a transplant. I also included the information on the changes to the property insurance deductible, which was approved by the executive committee, which is saving us money, and with the help with the insurance money that we set aside, we'll be able to cover that. Item 12D in the packet is the treasurer's report of receipts and disbursements for the year, and then just put on your calendars that the September county board meeting has been moved to Monday the 12th at 7 o'clock instead of. Yep.
There was
Your calendar too, yep. So there you go. And just on AB Bill 588, that's interesting, and just I've made my update of what's going on there. We'll see how that shakes out with the legislature, but it's a very good bill that was basically being scuttled by amendments. So that's a little bit discouraging. For the details, AB 588 allowed non-utilities to set up charging stations. Well, somebody put in an amendment then that municipalities can't have charging stations. And some of us at the larger counties are like, well, we're okay with that. But the smaller counties like Langley, Bayfield, Ashland, they're like, that's counterproductive for us. We don't have the Amicos. We don't have the Quick Trips. We don't have those big players. We have mom and pop gas stations, and they can't afford the infrastructure for electric charging stations. So we'd like to be leasing or being partners. Well, this amendment effectively said that municipalities, the only thing that they can have for charging stations is their own fleet. So the Wisconsin Counties Association said, that really works counterproductive for smaller counties. Smaller counties, it could really prevent them from even having a charging station anywhere in their county, because the only way you can sell electricity in Wisconsin is to be a regulated utility. So anyway, WCA is monitoring that, but that's what I have. Item number, just to give you more detail on item 15, out of county network claim that we're trying to settle. We are trying to settle this. Alex Beaudry is working on this. He did not get back to me. I left it open all the way till this morning, just in case we could. And then the highway gravel pit was sold to another concern. So that's why. That's all I have.
And there was, I think, a memo put out on executive meetings for next year as well, so you can plan. But already October is to the 28th, that day will be changed. It's a Friday, will probably be a Thursday or Wednesday, just in case you want to put all your stuff out there for a year. So. And there weren't any appointments, right? Claims, petitions, correspondence on there either?
Got a bunch of things. I got a bunch of things for you to get prepared for. So he and I sit on the underwriting committee for the Wisconsin County Mutual, which is our insurance company. And so I am planning for this group on June 20th at 5 p.m. of having cybersecurity training for all of you. Because you know where our number one cybersecurity threat is? Right there. So you're going to get some free training on how to run you can use it personally, but we're bringing up Seth Johnson to talk about what you should click on and not click on, what to look for. Interesting article over the weekend. You know that the bad people are getting very good. They're now stealing. If you've watched over the weekend, they've stolen Harvard's links, and they've falsely gotten people to apply for jobs that they thought they were applying for very prestigious jobs at Harvard. So the bad guys are getting smarter. We've got to catch up to them. So that's what we're talking about.
And what day, June
20th at 5 o'clock, like a 1 hour training. That's what we're tentatively talking about.
And what day is that?
That would be a Monday. Yeah. Next time we meet in January, CBS Squared is going to come give the highway facilities update, because Mark, you're at commissioner training. But we're going to talk about lead times, because the highway siting committee had a long discussion on lead times and explaining to the board and the public that the lead times for what we're trying to do are getting longer and longer and longer. And then also for John Will to be here to present on Northwest Technical College. Those are the three things that I have. Maybe that claim, that out of claim 2, that claim for, we might be able to settle, better be able to settle that.
Okay. Anything else?
Honor.
If not, at 9:39, we'll adjourn by unanimous consent. Thanks, everybody.